Hello, I'm Captain Jack and welcome to the Hangar Bay. On this channel, we take a deep dive into the best starships, technology, and more from your favourite sci-fi universes. Today, we're talking about the heaviest of the UNSC's frigate designs used in the Human Covenant War. This is the Paris-class Heavy Frigate, which sacrificed carrying troops and small craft in favour of being equipped with overwhelming firepower. The frigate design was one of the most commonly deployed during the conflict, with many still remaining in service during the post-war era. While you're watching, what would you name a UNSC frigate? UNSC starships always had fantastic names, like Forward Unto Dawn, In Amber Clad, or Pillar of Autumn. What name would you choose? Get commenting. Remember, for the latest videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and let us know what you think of this ship in the comments below. The Paris-class UNSC frigate came in at a length of 535 meters and a width of 199 meters. What is immediately apparent when we look at the Paris-class is that the design lineage follows what was established with the Charon-class light frigate and the Stalwart-class light frigate. The main identifier of the Paris-class is the two primary booms on the fore section. The upper of these booms contains the Paris-class's 65p 8v1 magnetic accelerator cannon. This is the primary weapon of the starship. Below the upper boom is the lower boom, which houses the frigate's navigation sensors and communication arrays. We can see a series of antennas protruding from the fore of the frigate. As we move more into the centre of the frigate, the hull booms are flanked by two horizontal modules, which are a third of the ship's length. These contain deployment bays. Also located in these modules are the housings and mechanisms for 5 of the M870 Rampart Point Defence turrets. We'll talk more about the full armaments of the Paris-class later on. Moving towards the rear of the Paris-class, the upper section contains the frigate's externally mounted bridge module. This is at the top of the ship, allowing the bridge crew to have an overview of the battle space around the frigate. On the lower section is the starship's primary hangar bay. If we look at the sides of the frigate, each side has a wing of sorts, which houses a single primary and 3 secondary fusion drives. The section that connects both wings is where the frigate's main fusion reactor is installed. The installed engines serve as the Paris-class's central sublight maneuvering drive system. The Paris-class had a Shaw Fujikiwara translight engine drive installed. This slip-space drive seemed to be the standard available for UNSC frigates. It could be easily removed from a frigate if needed. Given that the Paris-class had an overwhelming focus on armaments, it means the Paris-class frigates are not best suited for cargo or troop transportation. It also restricts the ships when they move from orbit into a planetary atmosphere, though they're still capable of doing so. Before UNSC ships were installed with shield systems, the Paris-class heavy frigate would rely on being coated in a layer of titanium A battle plating. Given the designation of the heavy frigate, the plating on the Paris-class was thicker in volume than would be found on the lighter frigates like the Stalwart-class. Back to the weapons of the Paris-class. The Paris-class frigate is significantly more armed than most other UNSC frigate designs. The primary weapon of a frigate is a single light 65p 8v1 magnetic accelerator cannon, commonly known as the MAC gun. In terms of secondary weapons, the Paris-class has 26 M58 Archer missile pods. While these are ineffective against energy shielding and vulnerable to Covenant-designed point defences, they remain effective against enemy armour plating. 12 M870 point defence guns are installed on the frigate. We mentioned that the horizontal modules were the location for 5 of the M870 Rampart point defence turrets. 3 of these were located on the upper hull and 2 were located below. Additionally, 6 M2950 Harpoon nuclear missile silos were installed in this location. The middle section of the Paris-class, as in the area between the starship's engines, also mounts an additional 2 M870 Rampart guns and several missile silos. Supplementing the primary weapons of the ship are 12 M2950 Harpoon nuclear missile silos, located in the centre of the vessel. These vertical launch silos can be used to deploy the nuclear weapons if needed, though some ships may carry Shiva-class nuclear missiles either in addition to the Harpoons or instead of them. As mentioned, the Paris-class features a hangar bay. However, due to the vessel design focusing on armaments over cargo capacity, little room is left for carrying fighters or troops. Additional systems on the Paris-class include the exterior hull being coated with over 100 surveillance cameras and sensors, allowing the command crew to have complete observation of what's happening around the vessel. The bridge module contains 2 standard airlocks on either side. As such, this allows for umbilical docking with other vessels or space stations. In terms of internal space, crew quarters, medical bays, engineering decks, and more were all located inside. 2 years before the outbreak of the Human Covenant War, the UNSC deployed the Paris-class Heavy Frigate into service. The Paris-class was the third of the UNSC Navy's prominent Covenant War era frigate classes to enter into service. Immediately after deployment, the Paris-class quickly demonstrated itself as a capable warship, particularly when compared to other UNSC Navy designs. Later into the Human Covenant War, the Paris-class was being constructed in huge numbers, and would be the design dominating the construction yards. The UNSC Commonwealth, a Paris-class frigate, was deployed in one of the earliest engagements in the war. However, this particular ship was decommissioned by 2552 and taken to the Azov shipbreaking yards on Reach. Late in the war, various amounts of Paris-class frigates were deployed by the Epsilon Eridani fleet and were used to defend the Epsilon Eridani system's various colony worlds during the space campaigns of the Fall of Reach. During the Fall of Reach, 2 Paris-class frigates were deployed planetside to give atmospheric fire support to UNSC ground forces. This was the Battle of Surdark Ridge. UNSC Grafton and UNSC Saratoga both targeted and engaged Covenant ground units, as well as provided air support to friendly forces. However, the Grafton was destroyed in a surprise attack. While the Paris-class was successful in destroying the Covenant installation, this revealed the Covenant supercarrier, Long Night of Solace, which had been hovering over the battle area. With its cloaking shield gone, the supercarrier opened fire with its ventral energy projector. Due to being crippled, the Grafton crashed into the valley below. Thankfully, the UNSC Saratoga avoided this and escaped, also causing the remaining UNSC ground forces to break off and fall back. The UNSC needed to deal with the Covenant supercarrier. As such, the Paris-class known as UNSC Savannah was deployed to the Anchor 9 space station as part of Operation Uppercut. This saw the removal of the Savannah's translight engine, used as a makeshift bomb to destroy the supercarrier. The Savannah then escorted UNSC FSS 1000 Sabre fighters as they moved to capture the Covenant Corvette, Ardent Prayer. While 2 Spartans and Marines boarded the Covenant Corvette, the Savannah laid down covering fire. Unfortunately, the Corvette's firepower easily outgunned the smaller UNSC frigate, but before she could escape, she was destroyed and lost to all hands. While the Savannah was lost, the mission was a success, with the Covenant supercarrier being destroyed. Although Reach eventually fell and was lost, several UNSC Paris-class frigates were able to escape somewhat intact. One of these was the UNSC's Promise of Dawn, although it later crashed onto a planet. During the final months of the Human Covenant War, Paris-class frigates made up a large portion of the UNSC home fleet, where they would defend Earth during the opening stages of the Battle of Earth. Following the end of the Human Covenant War, the post-war era saw the introduction of several UNSC frigate classes that would succeed the Paris-class. For example, the Trident-class Heavy Frigate was designed to take over the Heavy Frigate role, although these ship designs have yet to fully replace the Paris-class design. Another design was the Mulsanne-class Light Frigate. This was designed to take over the Paris' aggressive and swift frigate scale attack. It was also armed with a direct energy weapon rather than a MAC system. Regardless of these new designs, the Paris-class still saw deployment. Both the UNSC Cascadia and UNSC Saturn were deployed on lone missions to post-glass worlds to oversee the exploration of Forerunner relic sites. The UNSC Infinity would be escorted by several Paris-class frigates at one point. The Paris-class frigate officially debuted in Halo Reach, where quite a few different starship names represented her. The most well-known are the UNSC Grafton and the UNSC Savannah. Both were destroyed in the Fall of Reach. However, the Paris-class was originally designed for inclusion in Halo 3, as a conceptual design for what would become the UNSC Fordham to Dawn, the Charon-class light frigate. During production, the class was known as Stalwart, which was actually the name of the frigate class introduced in Halo 2, represented by the UNSC in amber clad. This was ultimately changed to the Paris-class with the release of the Halo Essential Visual Guide reprint in 2011. On screen, you can see the Halo 3 concept art of the UNSC Andraste, on which the design of the Paris-class frigate is based. The concept work for the frigate produced labels for the subject spacecraft, and provides several labels and notations to various features of the starship. In the Halo 2 Anniversary remaster of the Halo 2 level Cairo Station, Paris-class frigates replaced the Stalwart-class light frigates seen in the skybox of the mission, and they can be viewed flying into deep space to engage the fleet of Sacred Consecration. So that's everything we know about the UNSC Paris-class frigate, arguably one of Halo's best frigate designs. But do you think so? Do you maybe prefer the UNSC in amber clad, a Stalwart-class light frigate, or the Charon-class UNSC Fordham to Dawn? Or maybe you just don't like UNSC frigates? Regardless, let us know what you think of the ship down below in the comment section. Remember, for more Halo Starship videos, including the UNSC Infinity and more, check out the playlist on the end screen. You can also check out our wealth of other Starship videos, such as Stargate, Star Trek, Star Wars, and many more sci-fi universes here on the Hangar Bay YouTube channel. That's the end of this video. I've been Captain Jack in the Hangar Bay. Remember, if you're talking about science fiction, first hit that subscribe button and then tell us about it as we want to hear about it.